Hello, family. You're welcome back to my kitchen. If you are new here, a very warm welcome. And if you're an old subscriber, thank you for coming back. Today, I'm showing you how I turned a big pan of fresh tomatoes I bought for just 50 Ghana cedis into the richest, most beautiful homemade tomato paste. Of course, with a little help from my grandmother. And so please kindly hit the subscribe button, stick around, and let's get cooking. I started off with a big pan of fresh tomatoes, and honestly, knowing what this will become is already making me happy. The first step is washing. Now, please don't skip this part or rush it. Tomatoes can carry a lot of dust and dirt from the farm and even the market stalls. And so I poured water over my tomatoes in a large pan and gave the tomatoes a very good first wash. And so right after that, I removed the stalks carefully one by one. Once that was done, I washed them again a second time to ensure your tomatoes are extra clean. And right around this time, Grandmom joined me because this was a big batch of tomato paste and I needed extra hands. And gradually, we transferred our tomatoes to a second pan, which was also filled with clean water. Family, this part of the tomato making process doesn't feel like work, but let me tell you, it is work. It took us about 30 minutes to get this done, but the good thing is it is worth it. Next, we moved on to deseeding our tomatoes. Family, this step takes extra patience. We split each tomato into two and carefully removed the seeds into a separate container. Some people choose to skip this part, but I would highly recommend this. Why? Because the seeds can sometimes add a bitter taste, and removing them will give your tomato paste a more cleaner, sweeter, and smoother paste. Surprisingly, I find this very therapeutic, just sitting with a bowl of tomatoes, slicing them, and scooping out the seeds, chatting away in the kitchen. If you've got kids, siblings, or even friends around, this can easily become the perfect group task for everyone to engage in. Once all the tomatoes were ready, we placed a heavy pan on fire. And when I say heavy, I mean very heavy pan on fire. The kind of pot that can take long cooking hours without burning your food. I went ahead and filled the pot with the deseeded tomatoes. And once I noticed the pot was getting fuller and fuller, I laughed to myself because it seemed impossible that all of this could reduce into a thick tomato paste. But you see, that's the beauty of tomatoes. Once it touches the heat and the water in them begins to release, then the transformation begins. And family, do you remember the seeds we took out from the tomatoes? Yes, this is the part where they come to play. And no, we are not throwing away the seeds just yet. We are going to place a colander over your tomatoes and strain every juice from the seed. Grandma had special use for the seeds after we had strained the juice from it. She spread the seeds on a mat under the sun and said she was going to plant them once they were completely dried. Once our pot was filled up, I stirred the pot every few minutes, carefully moving the tomatoes around with a wooden spoon. This step is very important because you don't want anything sticking to the bottom of your pan. Stir everything together and allow it to do its own thing. The heat from the fire will start breaking the tomatoes down slowly. At this point, you notice the tomatoes releasing a lot of liquid, and that's exactly what we want. The key here is to let them cook until they start softening and the skin loosens up. Family, at this point, things are going to get a little messy, but it's also still fun. We had to separate the liquid from the skin and fiber. So I used the colander for this, working in batches. I scooped the boiled tomatoes into the colander, pressed it down gently, and let the smooth, juicy liquid drip into another container below. This step also takes a while, but don't rush it. Gradually, you start seeing the tomato juice separate while the skin and other tougher bits stay behind. And don't throw those skins away yet. You'll use them in the next step. Initially, the flow of the juice through the sieve or colander is very slow, but once you press it down with your ladle, you would see the speed of the flow increase more rapidly. To the leftover skins, I added some beetroot. Beetroot enhances the deep red color of the tomato paste and it gives it that rich, vibrant color that makes your stew looks very appetizing, and also it sneaks in some extra nutrients. And so just like we did for the tomatoes, please do make sure to wash your beetroot thoroughly. I went ahead and blended the tomato skins and beetroot with a very powerful blender until it was smooth. And as you can see, the mixture came out very thick, rich, and very beautifully colored. Adding beetroot to your tomato skin is one of those simple tricks that will make your homemade tomato paste stand out. With our heavy pot back on fire, we poured in the tomato juice and went ahead and poured in the beetroot mixture as well. We stirred this and allowed this to simmer on medium heat. Slowly, the water began to evaporate and the mixture gradually started thickening up. This stage requires a lot of patience. Again, don't be tempted to rush the process by turning your heat all the way up because that could easily burn the tomato paste. And slowly, as the water reduces, the paste gets richer, the flavor becomes more concentrated, and the color becomes more intensified. By the time everything has significantly reduced, I had this gorgeous, thick, shiny tomato paste sitting in the pot. Family, this is honestly better than anything I've ever bought in a can. You would also notice some sound changes too. It becomes less bubbling and more of that slow, thick simmer. That's when you know your tomato paste is coming together. We waited some more, letting all the water evaporate slowly until we were left with nothing but this gorgeous, rich, deep red, concentrated flavor. And that's it, family. From a big pan of fresh tomatoes worth 50 Ghana cedis to a freezer stocked with homemade tomato paste. It's a process, yes, but every step is worth it. For the flavor, for the health benefits, and the joy of making something from scratch. Plus, it saves you money in the long run. Once the paste was ready, I turned off the heat and let it cool completely. And just like that, our homemade tomato paste ready to go anytime it is needed without worrying about preservatives or additives. And once it was cooled, I scooped portions into small plastic bags, pressed the air out, and sealed them tight. You can also use airtight jars or containers depending on what you have available. Tomatoes are in season right here in Ghana, and if you see a fresh pile of tomatoes in the market, think of this recipe. Take some home and turn this into magic. Thank you so much for staying here with me today in the kitchen. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more amazing recipes, and drop a comment to let me know, have you ever tried making your own tomato paste? I would love to hear your stories. Stay subscribed and I will see you in the next video. Bye.